over behind me, that direction is Bake Oven going northbound. That's where I was last fall with Mudbug when we were trying to fill in our gaps. And now I am going SOBO back down to Port Clinton. Just got dropped off and looking forward to getting back on the trail again. And unfortunately, as some of you know, it's been a tough time for me and spent the morning in tears, unfortunately, just mourning some things in my life, some losses. And the weather, as gray as it is, kind of suits my mood. So I'm going to be heading southbound and hitting the knife's edge in a little bit, and if I'm lucky, doing about 9 miles this afternoon. It's a little after 12 now, and hopefully I'll be able to do the 9 miles and get into the Allentown shelter and then continue on from there tomorrow. Someone's left a nice water cache here. Sign says through hikers only. And I was talking to the shuttle driver, and he did say that water has been kind of scarce, but it may rain this evening, which should help a little bit. But I've got a couple liters with me, and I hear that the water at the shelter is okay, slow but okay. Well, the trail here is getting a little rockier, and I started out with my fleece on because I've never been good at starting cold, and it's only about, I don't know, 67 or so today. It's actually beautiful, beautiful hiking weather. But I'm getting warm already, and I haven't had lunch yet, so I'm hoping that somewhere along here I'll find a nice little place I can stop and get a good lunch break before I hit knife's edge. But I'll just see how it goes here. And for now, I'm gonna put the camera away so I don't hurt myself. Just came up those little rocks down there, and there's a nice little viewpoint here. And I'm gonna continue on this way. Well, I've been crossing some very rocky terrain, and I'm coming to this climb up here, which I think is the beginning of Knife's Edge. So I will find out, heading that way. So I climbed up to the top of Knife's Edge, and I realized that I have not eaten enough or had enough fluids, especially because I've been shedding a lot of tears, which of course have a lot of salt in them, and probably not a good thing to not be hydrated. So I decided to take a break right here in the middle and have a nice little snack. So I got myself some electrolytes and some Welch's fruit snacks, which are one of my go-tos. And I thought, well, I'm sitting here, I may as well go ahead and tell you what's going on in my life. I haven't really been prepared to talk about it publicly, but you know I'm going through a lot of pain, and it's been a very difficult few months for a lot of reasons, but it's gotten a lot worse because my husband and I will be getting a divorce after 32 years of marriage, 34 years together. Been with him since I was 19, so basically my whole adult life. And unfortunately, it's not the path that I would have chosen, but when you're in a relationship, it does take two people to make it work, and his choice is to not be in the relationship anymore. So we've agreed that that's the best thing that we can do for each other. And hopefully we'll be able to stay friends through the process, or at least become friends again at some point. But it's a very difficult thing, and it's kind of like being up here on this knife's edge with rocks everywhere, all kinds of places that you can fall, and no safety net. So I'm sure some of you can relate to that experience. I'm sure many of you have been through it. It's definitely not easy. It's very painful. It's heartbreaking. I can't begin to put words to all of the emotions that I'm feeling. So I'm not going to talk about it a lot, but I just do want you to know where I'm at. I've always been honest in my videos and open about how I feel as I'm hiking. I'm out here for some what I call trail therapy right now, and I do ask that you just keep me in your prayers, keep me in your heart, and send good vibes. And I'm going to just do the best I can to work through the process and then figure out how to build a new life that includes all the things I enjoy, like hiking. So that's that. I just came down from the air, which is Knife's Edge, and I'm heading downhill. I don't know if I go back up again, but if that was it, it really wasn't long, and it wasn't bad. Hopefully maybe that's a metaphor for my life. We'll see. Not that my life will be short, but that my pain will not be long or too bad. Anyway, I am heading on this way to see what the trail has in store for me. I just left the Allentown Hiking Club shelter right over there. Getting ready to head up the trail this way this morning. It was a nice night. It's been cool. The weather was great. And I ran into a girl who passed me while I was hiking yesterday. Her name's Kendall. She goes by Daisy. She's out for the weekend and getting ready for a thru hike next year, so that was cool. Then a couple other guys came in, some SOBO thru hikers, and we just had a good time hanging out. One of them packed in some beers, about 8 beers that they found in glass bottles. Somebody left it at Trailhead, so he brought all those in, and we drank them up and just talked and had a good old time. And then I actually stayed in the shelter, which I don't usually do, but it was a nice clean little shelter, nice little bunks. So I stayed in the shelter, slow rolled it this morning. Now it's a little bit after 8, and I'm hiking out, planning to do, well, my goal is 16.5 to the Windsor Furnace shelter, but I hear it's really rocky and that might be kind of ambitious. That's what my shuttle driver said. So I'm just gonna play it by ear, see how far I get today, and just have a good hike. I have been over a ton of rocks today and didn't video most of them for obvious reasons. I need to focus on my footsteps, but just stopped at Dan's Pulpit, and there was a group of folks out there doing just a section hike, or maybe even a day hike, I didn't ask. But I talked to one of the leaders, and he was telling me that this section here going into Eckville gets a little bit easier for a while. He said it'll be going downhill and not nearly as rocky. Like, might have 1 or 2 more little rocky sections, but nothing terrible. And so I should be about 2.5 miles from Eckville, so I think I'll be there in a little over an hour probably. Take my lunch, rest a bit, and then continue on. And I still don't know if I'm going to make it to 16, but the gentleman did tell me that the other side, when you're going up from Eckville, has got some ankle biter rocks, little ones bigger than this probably, but not as many wicked rock scrambles as we've had this morning. And I call them wicked, but I actually, if you've been watching me the whole time, you'll be shocked to hear me say this, but I actually am learning to enjoy them. They're kind of fun. It's a bit of a puzzle to figure out where to go, and you just balance and move with sure footing, and it's actually kind of enjoyable. It's definitely a good workout, so that feels good on my legs and working out some muscles that, in spite of all my training, hadn't been used in a while, because the only way to train for hiking, or the best way to train for hiking, is hiking. So anyway, so I'm heading downhill for a little while, and we'll be in Eckville for a bit, or even a bit, for lunchtime. Just past the turnoff for the Hawk Mountain Sanctuary, just right up there. I don't know if you can see the sign over there. It's about 2.5 miles, so I decided not to go. I am definitely on a downhill. There's a group of hikers there at the turnoff that said it's all downhill from here, so we'll see if that's true. I've learned to only believe about half of what I hear, but anyway, it's nice to be moving a little faster right now. Feels good, so I'm gonna keep on trucking. Well, I just had a nice little lunch break at the Eckville shelter. I stayed there right at the end of my hike last year, and I just went in and sat at the picnic table, had some lunch, put my feet up for a little bit, got some water, and now I am heading northbound. No, southbound still, whatever. Anyway, I'm going that way up towards the Windsor Furnace shelter, which is 9.1 away, and the caretaker said that the first 5 or 6 miles up this way are not bad at all, so I hope I can make pretty good time, because it's about 1:45, and if I do 9 miles, it means I'll probably be rolling in about 6:30 or 7, I would guess. Kind of a long day for me, but I'm gonna just tackle it and see how I can do. Passed a lot of day hikers like this that are heading this way right now, and if it's 5 or 6 miles like this, it should be a pretty quick hike. Alright, well, I finally reached the Pinnacle, and there's also another peak a little bit beyond here, but I'm going to go take a look at this one, which I hear is one of the best views in Pennsylvania, and it's a clear day today, so hopefully I'll be able to enjoy it. That is a gorgeous view. And there's lots and lots of rocks here to sit and enjoy it. Going all the way back that way. I am back in the rocks again. The sun is getting low, which makes it a little bit harder to see sometimes. The glare and the shadows are a little bit challenging. And I'm not going to video much right here because I sure don't want to fall down and get hurt, but I want to kind of give you an idea of what I've been dealing with a good part of the day today. The rocks are getting bigger, and I don't enjoy doing this late in the day, especially when I'm tired. You can see some of the rocks behind me. I am exhausted. I think I've got 2 miles to go. I have Chuck gut hiking a little bit, but Man, this is definitely the rockiest day that I have done on the AT. When I'm done, it'll be about 17 miles, counting a couple of side trails that I did. And whew, it is something, I tell you. Pennsylvania does have rocks. Not every bit of it, but man, when they're there, ooh, look at them, they're there. Well, I just left the Windsor Furnace shelter, which I didn't realize was so close to Reservoir Road. Oh, English, it's so hard. Anyway, that's where I stayed for the night. I got there and there was a group of Boy Scouts camping. It was their first overnight actually, and some other hikers about, so it was nice to not be alone. But I found a nice quiet tent site, set up my teeny tiny tent that I've been testing at a little Skyscape Dyneema tent from 6 Moons Designs. And it's actually pretty comfortable, as small as it is. I'm surprised how comfortable it is, but I thought, because I had done 17 miles yesterday, that I was just going to be knocked out, asleep like a rock all night long. And unfortunately that wasn't the case. I slept for just an hour or so, and then my emotions started kicking in, and I had kind of a rough night emotionally, but I guess that's going to be par for the course for me for a while. As I go through this process, I know there are going to be a lot of varied emotions. One of the most gut-wrenching is the feeling of aloneness, which is going to make me cry just thinking about it. But then the other, which is a positive one, is that the trail might be the only place that I feel strong. Because yesterday when I was hiking, oops, I need to cross some rocks here. Yesterday when I was hiking, it was a long day. I haven't hiked 17 miles since Maine probably. But I felt good. It felt good to move my body. It felt good that I'm finally conquering the rocks and I'm confident about where to step and moving a lot faster. My pace is above 2 miles an hour, even with all the insane rocks yesterday. So that's a good thing. And as I was writing in my journal this morning, I was thinking about it, and I thought, if I can just find some way to translate that strength and confidence that I feel on the trail into the rest of my life, then maybe somehow that will get me through the pain that I'm going through right now. So anyway, just a thought for the morning. I'm off to hike 6 miles into Palmerton, and then I think I might give myself a nice lunch, a treat at the brewery in Hamburg before I go to my hotel and clean up my gear and change gears to hit Lehigh Gap starting tomorrow. Did I say 6 miles to Palmerton? My mind is all messed up, especially with all the hopscotching around I'm doing. It's 6 miles into Port Clinton, mostly downhill, which hopefully will not wreck my knee. So far, it's holding up well, and I'm extremely thankful for all the training that I did. Even though I'm not going to be able to use it on the long trail this year, it's serving me well out here in Pennsylvania. I am under the bridge that is 61 going into Port Clinton. Some artwork here depicting the AT. And I am just about done with the stretch. It's been a short hike this morning, pretty steep, very rocky, and a lot of it overgrown. And it's also been a very emotional morning for me. I'm feeling a little bit better now, thankfully. But it's got me thinking about the rest of the week, and I'm gonna get out of here once I get to my car, get some lunch, do a little bit more thinking, and then decide whether I want to proceed or pack it in and just take some time for self-care, I guess would be the best way to say it, over the next few days. Because as much as I love hiking, I wonder also if it might be good for me to do something else and just have time to think and reflect and get back to hiking later. But honestly, I don't know the answer to that question at this point, so I'm going to leave it at that, and I will get back with you once I decide.